are not a fan of John Bateman, you need to have a good hard look at yourself. Welcome to Fox League Live, Mr. John Bateman. How's isolation in the capital going?
Yeah, it's not too bad. There's not really much to do here, so it's pretty normal, to be fair.
Hey, Johnny, what about back in Bradford? Plenty of family back there, particularly your young daughter. How's she travelling, mate?
Yeah, she's all right. She's just finding it a bit hard at the moment, obviously, having to stay in and stuff like that. But I suppose it's a norm for everyone at the moment, and she can't really do much about it. So I've been on FaceTime to her plenty of times, and obviously speaking to her and stuff like that. So she's coping well, but I think she's looking forward to getting out of the house pretty soon.
Now, mate, you rolled the dice over the summer, deliberately taking a shoulder operation so you didn't have to do the back end of pre-season.
Smart work.
How's it coming along, mate?
Yeah, it's going pretty well, to be fair. This timing of obviously what's happening at the moment probably helped me a little bit. And yeah, it's like I said, it's coming along pretty good. I'll try and be back in about 5 weeks, so it's going to probably help me massively. So yeah, it should be pretty good, and I'll be back probably sooner than what I expected.
So, Johnny, just tell us, how does life change in Canberra when you've got to sit in a room? I can't imagine there's much change at all, really.
Nah, mate, you're pretty spot on, to the face. There's not much change at all. It's one of them, you just literally try and find bits and bats to do and stuff like that, but I don't think there's much more to do anyway, so...
The only thing that doesn't change is the colour of the walls. Other than that, pretty much.
Yeah, literally.
Canberra bash.
Yeah, come down there and spend a week, Kenty. You know, broaden your horizon, mate.
Yeah, I don't need it because I spent a day down there once and it felt like a week.
I'm going to say that's why Mick only spends a day down here a week himself.
Only come down when they're winning.
You're correct.
Mate, did the club possibly send you any guidelines on how to FaceTime? You're doing a great job. I don't know if you saw Ricky Stewart, mate, earlier.
Yeah. Last time I seen it, it was like
It must be in the guideline down there. You put it down, show us your nostrils.
Mate, it's proper dad in here on FaceTime. I've seen it over there. Well, proper granddad, I'd say. So yeah, I think he needs a bit of lessons on that.
You've got a strong English contingent. Obviously, you guys find yourself on the opposite side of the world in something that, you know, as a global community, we've never faced before. What's been the chat with yourself and George Williams and Elliot Whitehead and Josh Hodgson? You know, have you made to make sure that your families don't feel like, you know, that there is that half a world between you all?
Yeah, it's hard. It's like when times like this, you want to be with your family and you want to be around your family and stuff like that. But like I said, we've got a family here. We're pretty strong as a group, and obviously including everyone else apart from the English. And it's just staying together really, and just staying beside one another and looking after one another. And if anyone needs help, just being there for one another. So that's the main thing. We know how it is. Everyone's being affected by it in the world. It's not just us. So we need to what about one of the things about getting on with it and sticking together and holding tight, really.
So with that, with the lads, who would you want to be in a lockdown with, and who would you not want to be in a lockdown with?
That is a struggle. Who would I want to be with? I'm not too sure, to be fair. Yeah, it's some struggling. I'd probably be by myself. I'm really honest with you. I'd rather be bogged in by myself and just do what I really want and not have someone trying to tell me what to do.
Hey, Johnny, what about your shoulder injury? How, with this isolation process, give people at home an understanding of, are you allowed to still go into the club? How are you getting treated? How are you able to advance your rehab so that whether we come back July 1, whether it's August 1 or September, that you're raring to go for the Raiders?
Yeah, it's obviously been a tough one. Obviously, you have obviously certain restrictions. We've got an email today off the NRL, obviously saying what restrictions they are and stuff like that. So it's about finding obviously your own thing to do. And I've got a couple of weights at home. I've brought a couple back that I can just crack on with and do. Just keeping the movement there really in my shoulder and just try to progress it and not standing still. And that's the worst thing. If you start standing still on injuries, it starts going back to square one. So I'm just trying to progress it every time and just go from there really. I've got a programme from horse, the condition that I train with, and a bit from Nige. So I've started running and stuff like that now as well. So that's what I'll be able to do when I get out and about a little bit. So it's not too bad.
So, Johnny, what do you make of the first two rounds? Obviously, there's been a halt there, but did you see anything out of any teams that were slightly different, surprised you, or it all pretty much went to form?
Yeah, like you said, there's teams come. It's hard to tell, obviously, mate, with the start of the season. Every team works hard in pre-season. Every team comes out firing and stuff like that, and every team's really up for it. It's it's probably when you start getting into the middle of the season and back into the season where you start seeing the teams that are really got ready for it, had a really good pre-season, who come on strong. Roosters have been a prime example for the last 2 years. They've come on strong. They've had the ups and downs, but yeah, there's been a couple of teams obviously going well and stuff. Obviously, it's been a bit of up and down start to the season with obviously what's been going on and stuff, but there's been a couple of teams going well. Like Melbourne have obviously started well. They're not able to control the game, and they've had 2 tough games to be fair. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see obviously once the games get started and obviously who takes off from there, to be honest.
What about the end of the season? There's been a lot of talk about different scenarios that the game faces and how they'll shape the competition once the NRL is allowed to play back, or hopefully once the NRL is allowed to play back again. And one of the, I suppose, the most popular ideas is that they play a 13-week competition where you play the 13 teams that you haven't played so far, and then out of that, then we do a top 8 straight into the final system, hopefully a grand final before Christmas. Some people said that might be a bit of too much of a corruption. I quite like. I think in all, it's actually probably the fairest competition we could have, where everyone plays each other once. What are your thoughts there about what would constitute enough games to actually make the competition, I suppose, give it the credence of previous seasons?
Yeah, it's like you said, then, as long as people get the chance to play each other once, I don't think there's much hassle about that. I think if you put that to the players and stuff like that, people have been more than happy with that. People just want to play rugby. That's the main goal, and that's the main thing for people that want to do. Obviously, people want a fair crack at it, and I'm sure there'll be teams that will be saying, well, we didn't get to do this and get to do that, but you put the players out on the pitch playing rugby. The players will be happy to do that, and that's the thing at the moment. We're here to do a job, and we're not doing this job at the end of the day. And the thing that we love doing, we all started doing it as a kid. To a fair, and obviously you grow older and you start getting paid and stuff like that. But the love of the game's still there for everyone, and that's what, like you just said, then it probably sounds like the fairest idea. You all get a crack of each other, then whoever's going well obviously goes on to play in the finals, and from there it's to get into the grand final. So I think there's not really much of a way, if it starts later on into the year, that they can really do it. So that'll probably be the best option.
Vonnie asked you earlier who you would and wouldn't like to be isolated with, and you pretty well dodged the question. So I'm going to ask you directly: what would happen? What would happen if you were isolated, say, with, for example, Ricky Stewart? What's that look like after a week?
Probably turn into a pisshead after a week. Right, yeah. There'd be plenty of spit around my house and there'd be plenty of empty bottles.
What about if you were there with Nickel Clockstad for a week? How would that look after a week?
Yeah, it'd be pretty weird. Different things could happen with him. I'm not too sure if I'd want to be stuck in an house with him for a week.
We'll have to ask you that a bit.
Hey, Johnny, we're lucky enough to have the races on today. Have you been to the Canberra races since you've been over in Australia?
Yeah, I got a chance to go last year. I think is it the Black Opal?
Black Opal,
yes. Yeah, the Black Opal. I got a chance to go last year. I don't think I got any winners and pretty useless at stuff like that, to be honest with you. But a few of the boys, I went with Elliot.
Boys enjoy it?
Yeah, loved it, to be fair, mate. It's good crack, to be fair, when you get down the races, pretty busy and just losing money, to be fair. So what else more could you want?
Nothing like Australia Day standards I had.
Yeah, no, nothing like that, mate. We want all to drink.
Jack Whiten has begun 2020 in sensational form. He was the Clive Churchill medalist. I don't know what magic beans you've been feeding him over the summer, but he just looks in terrific form. What growth have you seen in Jack?
Yeah, it was pretty mad. Obviously, when I turned up last year, I didn't really realise that it'd come off the back of a 10-game suspension. You don't really realise that it's coming into pre-season and stuff. And the way it started pre-season last year were class, and the way it just carried on growing last year, it was just one of them things. You can, when you look at a certain player and you're like, he's a special talent, him, and he just grew and grew from there. And I think this pre-season he's just come on leaps and bounds. He played obviously State of Origin last year, and then he played for Australia. I think it's just grown in confidence. Jack's a big confidence player, and when his confidence is high, I don't think there's anyone in the league that can stop him. On an edge, one-on-one, he's a very dangerous ball carrier, and he's such a good asset to have in our team. He's probably up there one of the best in the world, I'd easily say. And if he continues like that, I can't see why he won't be one of the best in the world.
Hey, Johnny, is there any uncertainty in amongst the playing group, in the sense that, particularly there at Canberra at the moment, where, I mean, yeah, you weren't going through that hard period a number of years ago with them, but since you've joined them, they've got a roster there now, which I think everyone in the competition or who follows rugby league would genuinely know the Raiders are a shot this year. And the fact that, it could potentially, if this virus continues to do what it's doing in certain parts of the world, we may not play any footy this year. Like how frustrating or, is that uncertainty for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, coming from where we come from last year, we've obviously only missed out, and probably down to his own fault. To be fair, we missed out by his own mistakes and not taking his own chances in the grand final. And the Roosters on the day were a better team. It's simple as that. But like you said, we've had a really good pre-season now, and we've got George obviously coming in and stuff like that. And I just think, like obviously Curtis and stuff like that as well. I think it's just we've just grown massively as a team, and just seeing how we've started this season. The two games we had, people like, oh, you should beat him, and they're the games that normally catch you out. To be honest with you, you normally have a slip up because you might go into them a bit complacent and stuff like that. But we've just gone out there, played this game. The Gold Coast game probably wasn't as good as what we did, but we managed to put points, so we managed to keep them going, try, and it was just one of them games. We just did what we did, and you can see the growth in the team. We're very confident this year, and hopefully, like you said, we can get the season back up and running, and we can go from there. That's our aim. We're very confident in his own abilities. That's the main thing about us. Obviously, we think his own downfall is himself on the day. If we don't turn up and we don't perform, that's our own downfall. So we're confident in ourselves, and we just want to get back up and play rugby.
Johnny, something I've always wanted to ask you is when you got the ball in your hand, or the guy opposite you has got the ball in his hand, he's coming at you, what's going through your head at that time?
And mate, it's only 4 o'clock. All right, we're not into that. We're not past 8:30 yet.
Because you do play with an intensity I admire.
When I've got the ball in my hand, to be fair, mate, there's not much going through my head. I just try and think on the spot. Try and think what I play. I try and play what I see in front of me. To be fair, mate, that's my whole game. That's Mick. To be fair, he's trying to coach me a few times, and on the fake training pitch, I'm pretty similar. I just do what I see. To be fair, and I back my own instincts. I trust that I know the game well, and I just go with what I think I can do really. And sometimes it probably don't work, but then sometimes I'll try it again and it does work. So that's probably when I've got the ball. But when I've not got the ball, it's probably just more of a battle for me. Like Sean Wayne, my ex-coach, used to say, you take it personal every time someone moves it in. That's what I try and do. I try and take it personal, and on the end of the day, they're on that pitch to obviously try and get one over you, and that's the aim. That's the aim. If everyone did that on the pitch, from 1 to 17, the other team win. Simple as that, and that's what I go out there and try and do, and just try and focus on that and try and win my battle, and hopefully everyone else on the team wins their battle, and we go from there.
So when you absolutely give it to a bloke, is there like a little sense of elation that just runs through you and you think, yeah, I got him?
Yeah, get a buzz off it, to be fair, mate. I won't like you.
Oh, that's good to hear. I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny, mate, we've just been talking. The Roosters coach, Trent Robinson, has said that a number of his players have gone to get on the tools now that the situation financially for the players. Tell me what John Bateman would do if he was unemployed.
Bring me back at half 8, I'll tell you. No. To be fair, mate, I'll be totally honest with you. Since the only thing I've ever known since I finished school, I literally finished school and I went straight into playing rugby 2 weeks later. And wow. I've only ever looked at playing rugby. I've only ever wanted to play rugby, and probably, as I've said, as long as when I'm starting to get older, I'll look at doing obviously other stuff, and it's probably just come a bit faster than what I expected. And probably times like this, mate, do make you think what would you do after rugby and stuff like that, and what would you do if you didn't have rugby. So I've just been sitting down, just been having a little think, just been thinking about stuff. I passed a few things when I was in school, but I don't think them certificates would work on the proper building site, to be fair. But I don't know, to be fair, mate. It's one of them. I just have to probably sit down and think about it and just go from there. It's probably just end up on a building site or something like that. I'm one of them people. I always work hard with what I want to do. So whatever I put my mind to, that's what I'd just try and get on with.
John Bateman, the handyman, available for hire for odd jobs around the house. John, thank you so much. Take care of that shoulder, and hopefully